Today's episode is brought to you by Forvis Mazars.
Sound Cartel.
From Sound Cartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Today, consumers are accustomed to making buying decisions with just a few clicks. But there's a downside to technology, says Lyndall Spooner. They get less attached to their purchases and often regret their decisions. Lyndall is CEO of Fifth Dimension, an award-winning strategic research agency, which has released new data showing tech-enabled consumers experience higher levels of buyer's remorse. The challenge for businesses, she says, lies in balancing simplicity and clarity in the digital buying process. First, Chris Ashmore asks Lyndall, how have our buying habits changed in recent years?
Well, Chris, our buying habits can really be grouped into two types of categories. So there are things that we know that we want to plan to buy, and then there's the things that we just spontaneously buy. You can't walk out of Kmart and say, you might have gone in to plan buy one thing and you walk out with three things you didn't plan to buy. So for the things that we plan to buy, we increasingly are using technology, and we'll do that to educate ourselves about the category and maybe look for some recommendations and things like that, especially things that are higher risk, so things that cost more money or things that we don't really understand. We'll use technology to try and help us with those decisions. But also what you'll find is that technology is increasingly encouraging us to buy things spontaneously. So there's a lot of information we've talked about in the past about things like privacy. There's a lot of information companies know about us. They know our behaviours. And so they can send us messages really tailored to us to sort of buy things that they think that we might like. And you'll see a lot of ads and things like that on social media. And they're very good at helping us feel like we need these products, right? So we didn't start off needing them, but they might all of a sudden start, talking to our emotions and our weaknesses and encourage us to buy.
Well, you've done some research on buyers' online experience and behaviour. What have you found?
Yeah, so people are really relying more and more today on technology to help them make decisions. It's very easy to go online. You can pretty much search for any information that you want. And because it is so easy, especially for a more complex decision, something that we want to buy, we want to go out and make sure that we've done a little bit of research first before we go and, commit to a purchase. But the thing is that in that process, people are putting a lot of faith in technology. So they are really taking what technology comes back as a recommendation or the information that they're given about categories or options, and they believe in that. So there's a lot of trust put into technology, and to the point where people today tend to put more of the responsibility of that decision-making over to technology. So our brains are really wired for pleasure. We don't like to do hard work if we don't have to do it. So we tend to want the technology to do the hard work for us to make that decision. And what we found in the research is that people would actually rather have an easier decision process and put the hard work onto the technology to do that. We call that a lighter cognitive load, so make their brain do less work to make a decision, even if it meant that technology would lead them down the wrong path to the wrong decision. So that's how much we are all craving this ease and convenience and speed today, is that we're not really prioritising the outcome so much as we're thinking about the process. And technology is playing a very important role in making that process easy and convenient.
Forvis Mazars has been a long-time supporter of Sound Cartel, and now they're helping us bring you this podcast. Find out how audit, tax and advisory firm Forvis Mazars can support your business. That's FORVISMAZARS.com/AU.
As far as the consumer is concerned, that reliance they have on technology, that's making them feel more pessimistic, more uncertain about the brand whom they're buying the product or the service from?
Yes. So there's a couple of things that are going on. One is that in general today, unfortunately, we have a rise in people feeling anxious and being more pessimistic about lots of different things, about their future. If you ask younger people today, how do you feel about your likelihood to buy a house? They might feel like they have a very low chance of being able to do that. And those kind of things also relate to how people make decisions. So people feel less confident to make decisions for themselves, hence the use of technology. And what happens, though, is when you use technology to help you make a decision, or if you hand over that responsibility, you've played less of an active role in making that decision. So what happens is you don't really feel as connected to the brands or to the choices because you've relied on technology to help with a recommendation. And so when something new or better comes up, then people are more likely to continue looking and to search. So they're less committed to the brand choices that they have made. So I could let's say I take out an insurance product today, and I've used a comparison site, right, to help me do that because I'm not really sure what sort of coverage I need. Then when I see ads for more insurance in the future, I don't really 100% know why I've chosen the brand I'm with. And so I'm more likely to switch. The other thing is if I need to use that insurance, I may not have 100% understood what I've taken out and what I bought. And so you get a lot of more people who get caught and the product that they've bought isn't really what they thought it was going to be, or it isn't 100% meeting their needs. So there's a couple of things where we've sort of traded off. We want the ease and convenience. We don't want that cognitive load, but we're not as committed to really understanding the decision process. And we don't always then understand what we've bought, which can lead to that buyer's remorse.
So what are the lessons then for businesses?
Well, it's really a couple of things, is that businesses have been moving to technology. So they've been trying to transform to more digital and self-help channels. It's obviously a lot more expensive for a company to have a shop front or a branch and call centres. So they want to make everything as easy as possible for consumers to buy their products. But in making that process as easy and simple as possible, it also means that consumers may not understand what they're buying. So what brands really need to do is to get the balance right between a very easy and simple process for people to buy, but also making sure that they really do understand the key things about what they're buying and make it easy for that consumer to maybe step out of that purchase process and just go and find a little bit more information about things so that they are committed at the end. And if they can do that, then they're more likely that that customer is going to stay committed to that brand over the longer term, which will maximise their long-term customer value.
That was Lyndall Spooner, CEO of Fifth Dimension Research and Consulting. Business Essentials Daily is a Sound Cartel podcast. Producers are Nick Schildberger, Chris Ashmore, Jeff Waters and myself. Technical production by Pete Letts. I'm Nicole Goodman. Thanks for listening. We'll bring you more Be Daily next week.
Sound Cartel.
This episode was brought to you by Forvis Mazars. To find out more, visit forvismazars.com/au. That's FORVISMAZARS.com/au.